Othello on the bellow on the bellow. Othello on the bellow on the bellow.
Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go. Hey.
Hey everybody, we back. It's Monday, and we happy y'all here. We see some folks coming in already. Alicia, Lolita, people coming in. Thank y'all for coming back. Make sure next week you bring a friend. But first and foremost, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, click the bell. Make sure that you get notified of every single show that we have from here on out. Go back, watch the replays. We have some good content. And my name is Derek Jones, and we are The Real Shop Talk. Normally, we're five gentlemen. We're missing one, but I do have a. You know how when you see those shows and they have a remote video. We got a remote video from our brother because he wanted to chime in, even though he couldn't be on the show here. So stand by for that. But we are The Real Shop Talk, and we are five gentlemen who have no personal agendas. We just want to share how we feel. We share our vulnerability. We share our hearts, our minds, our ideas, and opinions about what's going on out here. Like the Marvin Gaye song, "What's Going On." We want to share. Hopefully, we'll over the course of this thing, you'll see some smiles, some cries, some laughs, and y'all can come along for the ride with us. We have a mission. We just want to build a community. We want to bring people back together. We want to bring, tonight's show is going to really be talking about like what's happening between Black men and Black women and why there's such a big divide. And we're just sick and tired of it. So I will, we'll do a quick, intros, and then we're going to get right into the topic. My name is Derek Jones, and I'm the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. I'm also a certified life and relationship coach. And I'm I am I'm gonna pass it over to John. I was gonna say something. I'm gonna pass it over to John. Somebody was in 3D.
Hey, we were sitting there, man, and all of a sudden, man, it's live and direct, man. Now, I'm John Singletary, the host of the Help Myself podcast, and I'm glad to be here. We ain't gonna do no crying, no tears, because we thugs. Y'all here, we real shop talk thugs. But now let me pass it down to Gunner Man.
Hey guys, what's up? I am Gunner Man. I am the host of the Gunner Man Show. I am a relationship life coach. Looking forward to this topic right here. We're going to share some good stuff today. Pass it over to my man, Tony Massey. What up, bro?
What up, y'all? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds good so far.
Okay. Sorry, I missed the top of the mic check. I was late. I'm really excited about tonight. This is a great topic. Really happy to be here with my brothers, and can't wait for Tony Watts's sorry I couldn't be here to accept my award video.
So that's a great segue. I'm gonna go ahead and play that. And just to preface before I play it, he really wanted to be here, but he got kind of sidetracked and had some things to handle. So he was like, I really want to at least just let people know, because this title came, it was his title. He wanted to make sure that we talked about this, and he was like, damn it, I really want to be there, but my day just kind of got away from me. So I'm gonna play this video from him, and then we're gonna get right into the topic. So stand by.
Good afternoon, good people. Appreciate you coming through one more time to the Real Shop Talk, where we discuss things that are affecting men in our communities. Tonight's conversation about the great divide between Black men and Black women is very important. And one of the very important parts about it is that we are reaching the point of no return. I'm listening to some conversations with women and men, and they both seem to be stuck in their lane and no one is listening to anybody. And this is one of the reasons why this conversation is so important. We've got to start listening to each other. We've got to come to the conclusion that we're human and we make mistakes. And we have to understand how important grace is. And we're not giving each other the grace that we need to give each other. And that is very, very important. So going into this discussion, I'm pretty sure Derek will pull up a couple of outstanding videos. I sent them one of a young lady that is basically blaming Black men for everything that's ever happened in society. And this is one of the reasons why I called for this particular conversation, because if you're having thousands and thousands of followers who are coming to see you every week and listening to the same thing, it becomes nauseating, to say the least. We have some things to do to work to build a community. And if black women and black men don't come together and this divide continues, we will disappear. So, hope, sit back. I'm pretty sure my dudes is going to give you something important to talk about and to chew on. And again, I appreciate you for showing up. Thanks.
All right, that was the great Tony Tony Watts. And that's you know, a lead into kind of where we are with this. And so I'm going to start with and tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we just like this literally going to be real shop talk tonight. We just going to talk about how we feel about some of this stuff. And gentlemen, feel free to add some things that you may have heard or seen in these streets. It's a lot going back and forth between black men and black women, but the first general question that I'm going to ask is, we are very aware that there's a divide between black men and black women, whether it be relationships, whether it be community, whether it be family. I guess, you know, I guess there could be long answers and short answers. I don't know. How so it doesn't matter who wants to jump in 2021, where we are with this, and take any lane you want to take it all. How do you think we got here? Like, what is your opinion of some pieces of how you think we got to the point where we just really not messing with each other like we used to? All right. Anybody can take it.
I think it starts with always a lack of communication. Whatever the case may be, once you get to a place where you're not sharing your thoughts and feelings with the people that you're interacting with, there becomes that great unknown, or that I think that my way is right. Only through conversations will you start to reveal what other people are thinking about the things that you think about. So I just don't think there's just not enough conversations going on about the things that matter, or the things that they're seeing and feel that, why are we not discussing this? It's seeing a frustration and not doing anything about it. Seeing something that just doesn't make sense and not doing anything about it, or at least start by asking questions.
Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in?
Yeah. Man, you know that saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil or the grease or whatever you're using to stop the squeak in your wheel. I do believe that a lot of times one of the best ways in marketing to get people engaged is to present a problem, and then to approach that problem with what you believe is a solution. A less effective way of marketing things is to just come and represent yourself as the solution. And when we talk about relationships and communities, the answer is that, you know, if you've had a bad experience, a lot of times you're looking for someone to verify the bad experience that you've had by sharing that same complaint that you have about said experience. And so when you get people together that can share an experience, sometimes they create that bond, or they create that moment. And a lot of times people that are, and this, you know, this goes across all kinds of disciplines, but people that are operating in excellence or operating in a successful area don't have as much time to get together and commiserate, because there's a cost to success. Like, and it costs your time, it costs your attention, and you don't have as much time to get up and say, hey, look, everybody, I'm successful. I've been married for 30 years. We good. Or, hey, my kids are good. Like, ain't nobody really trying to watch that show like they trying to watch the show where somebody say, all black men suck, and if you want to watch my show, I'm going to tell you why they suck. So, you know, we've got to understand that a lot of times so Tony Watts did an amazing show, and Tony Massey and his wife were on there, and the way that he marketed it, I thought was just a stroke of genius. He was like, over 50% of marriages are succeeding, you know, and I was like, wow, people don't say that a lot. And, you know, they came on there and I enjoyed it. It was 2.5, almost 3 hours, and they could have gone another couple of hours because I enjoyed it so much. And that doesn't happen as often as people complaining about black men ain't this, black women ain't that, this, that, and the other. So a lot of times it's easier to draw a crowd with a complaint or, with something going bad than it is, if you got a couple on there talking about, the struggles they went through, but their marriage is solid, you might get some folks to listen, but that's not going to be as salacious and that's not going to draw as much of a crowd.
I think that when it comes to relationships and the divide between men and women, I really think that we enter into this space looking for someone before we find ourselves. And what I mean by that is, most of us start dating around 16, 17 years old. And between the ages of like 16 to 25 is when most people are dating, but you have no idea who you are in that space. And so you're out looking for something, not knowing what you have to offer and not really knowing if what you're looking for is suitable for who you really are. And of course, all of this trauma takes place during that time frame because very rarely do people, marry and stay married to their high school sweethearts or even their college boyfriend or girlfriend. And so at some point you get to a point of maturity, some people do, where you discover who you are. And in that discovery, the successful people, in my opinion, they identify that it wasn't the biggest problem with dating has been me, right? But instead, so many people decide that I'm not the problem. I'm not the issue, right? And even if I was the issue, I fixed myself. So everyone else is the problem. And that lack of awareness just sends you out into the dating world unhealed, untreated, and unaware of your own, shortcomings or insufficiencies or inequities, right? And if you're not able to identify the issues within yourself, then the next logical thing to do is to point to everyone else. Mm-hmm. Well, it can't be everyone else because there are some people out there who are in very successful, happy, loving relationships. So what's different about them than me? And again, still not saying, hey, I could be the issue, right? It could be that, I'm not a very good partner, but it can't be that. It has to be that this guy's 6 feet tall, or he's got money, or he's got abs, or he's got, all of these extrinsic things that I'm going to identify as the problem so that I don't have to look inside. And then I find 2 or 3 people who agree with me who haven't taken that journey into maturity yet. And so now we have a group and we decide to not only focus on the men who are lucky, who have these extrinsic things that allow them to be, to successfully date women. We're also going to start looking at the women as well. And we're going to start, identifying the flaws in them. Again, still not looking within, right? And, I heard it said, and I think it's true. I think the most significant part of being in a relationship is not who you find in the other person, but who you find in you. The thing is that I have been looking in this mirror for decades that it displayed or it reflected not what was here, but what I wanted to see. And I convinced myself that what I saw was truly my reflection. When the reality was, I was not seeing myself, but what I had imagined myself to be, what I had desired myself to be. So I couldn't see my flaws. I couldn't see my shortcomings. I couldn't see the issues that lent themselves to relationships ending. It wasn't until I allowed my wife to be my mirror and trust the image that she reflected back to me, that's when the light bulb came on. And not just my wife, but, dating became fun when I saw myself in other people, because and then I recognized things in me that I never thought existed. I'll give you an example, then I'll land. I always thought I was a happy-go-lucky person. I'm not. I'm moody. You know, I could be mean sometimes, but you will never convince me that that's who I was. But then when I start seeing how women close to me would react to me in certain situations, then I was like, well, you act like I'm, you know, this, you know, mean guy. Well, you kind of are, you know, and I accepted that as, again, a reflection. And so then I started looking inside and saying, okay, who am I? And what is the work that I need to do? And once I did that, two things happened. One, I recognized that, you know, I have more control over who I allow in my space, which is paramount. You stop complaining about people when you don't let everybody in, right? And then two, you know, I started to really find me. And so now I'm left in this situation where I know who I am. And so it's hard to walk into these spaces where I hear people complain about, you know, women don't do this and women, then why are you entertaining them? Just don't entertain them. Yeah, it's not that simple, but it is. I'll end there.
Yeah. So I'm a touch on a little bit of what everybody said, and some of this stuff I just thought it just kind of came to me just now. But I think because I'm thinking about, because, you know, none of us are young, we're young looking, but I'm thinking over the course of my life, and I was thinking, like, why, especially those of the, like I always tell y'all, I consume a lot of content just to kind of, you know, make sure I'm abreast of things. But why does it feel, maybe some of the stuff was happening while we were growing up, but it feels like it's so huge now, like this divide. And I think when we go through life, we go through traumas, we go through breakups, we go through stuff in our families, and we feel a way. We don't, into a couple of y'all's points, we don't look at ourselves. But I think here's the thing, and this is kind of piggybacking a little bit on what Tony just said. If I'm hurt, if I'm relationship hurt, if I'm hurt, you know, if I'm a woman, if I'm hurt by my father or boyfriend or whatever, and I'm not just talking about women, but it'll make sense in a second. Most of us want to be the hero of the stories we tell. I think it's got to be innate in us in a way, because I think we all want to be right. We all want to be the superhero. Even in my dysfunction, even in my trauma, if I want to be in the superhero lane, whether I'm right or wrong, you used to be able to have to deal with that by yourself, or maybe with your friend group. Now we have the internet. So now it ain't just 5 people. It's 500,000. So you have the option now to never have to reconcile who you are, what you're doing, because everybody else is agreeing with you. Misery loves company, right? So if the narrative, and we saw this in real life with the Trump supporters, if the narrative is big enough, you never have to look outside the bubble. So now if you have a Kevin Samuels and all these other different type of people, if the crowd is large enough and you jump in and everybody's saying, yeah, the culprit's over here, you're going to jump in and be like, cool, I don't have to look at me now. Everybody else is agreeing with me. But it's not everybody. It's the bubble. So it's like, because we have the internet, we get to see it now. Every day, all the time. Good, bad, ugly, traumatic, triggering. And we consume it. And we keep consuming it. And whatever you want to believe, it's a group that you can go to that believes that too. So a lot of times now, on the women's side, we looking for a reason why we single. We looking for a reason why, you know, this man left me. If I go in the group and everybody say men leave because of this, hey, that's the answer. Let's go. and it doesn't serve anyone, because there's no solutions being had. And the men are doing the same thing. We tired of catering to these women, and we don't have to pay for nothing. And they want to be equal. So now this is what they get. And I'm like, wait. So when do we get back together? How do we make babies if we not? How do we build families? How do we, well, I know how. See,
we forming our own He-Man women.
I don't. So anyway, I'm gonna land there. The next place, and feel free to add anything as we go, gentlemen. I'm just going to throw some things out here. So now I'm going to just throw some things that I hear the most from both sides. And I want you guys to just kind of, throw whatever your opinion is or isn't. Anybody can jump in. And we've heard this for probably decades, but it's screaming so loud because of the internet, right? Black men, women are saying, Black men are intimidated by me because I'm successful. Is this, do we believe this? Is this a real thing? Is it something that is an assumed answer to why maybe some men aren't dating successful? I don't know. This is the talking point. I'm successful. Black women are doing the thing and they starting businesses now. And these men, they can't handle it. They intimidated by us, and that's why I'm single. What do you guys thought about that?
So I think this is twofold. One, I think that some successful women, they found a plausible excuse, and they're using it to justify or to explain their lack of success. When the reality is that don't nobody care about your job or your business or your degrees or anything else. Your lack of success has nothing to do. Your lack of success in love has nothing to do with your success in business. You're not a very nice person. You don't know how to be in a relationship. You don't know how to express your emotions or whatever. You have some issue, some inadequacy that is preventing you from being successful in relationships. And because you've heard this narrative, rather than, again, exploring and doing the work to find out what is the role that I play in my lack of success, instead you've latched on to this very, plausible excuse, and you've allowed that to be the prevailing, almost a mantra. And as a result, it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's one side. The other side is, I really wish, and this is not an excuse, but in my opinion, a reason, I really wish more women understood how we as men, especially Black men, are indoctrinated to be a solution, to be doing something, to be fixing something. Your presence should be a solution to a problem. But what happens when you meet someone who doesn't have a problem that she needs someone else to fix? The hardest thing, I think, for Black men, some Black men, I don't want to treat us like a monolith, is learning to be wanted and not requiring to be needed. And so when you meet someone with means who has resources, you walk into the situation wondering, where do I fit in? Not realizing that the only reason you're here is because I want you here or she wants you there. And that reason is better than any reason, because if your only, reason for being there is need, once the need goes away, so do you. And this is why so many men, especially, we romanticize our grandparents' relationships, because what we saw was our grandfathers fulfilling a need that couldn't be fulfilled by our grandmothers on their own because socially it wasn't allowed. I mean, there was a time where you, as a woman, you could not own property. As a single woman, you had to be married. So, of course, being married, period, doesn't matter who it is going to provide you a better life, a better quality of life. But now that's all changed. So now we have to learn to be wanted and not rely on being needed. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll pass the mic, is we have to accept where we are in life based on our own lack of preparation, follow through, or failures. We got to stop as men. We have to stop blaming other people, especially Black women, for our lack of success. I don't care about, all this other stuff. When you look at your life and where you are right now, if you can blame everybody but you, there's your problem. It ain't her money. It's your lack of accountability.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in real quick on this. I struggle with this whole intimidation thing, even though, and I see Love Tucker says when you keep getting the feedback that people find you intimidating. This is what I experienced just as a man being around other men. And I know different parts of the country behave a certain way in certain social classes or whatever, but these dudes that I see out here, they ain't scared of y'all, right? But here's the thing, to Tony Massey's point. If we are, and I'm not going to say all men, because we know every man ain't really built the same, but if we're conditioned to be problem solvers, if we're conditioned to try to, hold that provider role in these other traditional things, right? I don't think the word is correct. I don't think it's intimidation more than it is feeling inadequate, right? If I know that in my head, right, because I haven't met you yet, that I'm supposed to be a certain thing to a woman, and a lot of that has to do with finances and the things that I'm able to do and protect and do all of these other things, and I meet you, and you filling all those gaps in, right? I may feel like Tony said, that I don't fit. Where do I fit? Based on the things that I think that I'm supposed to add to you, right? That doesn't mean that that's actually what should happen between us. That's in my head because I've been conditioned this way. So when I see that you got all your stuff, it's just like people, it's almost kind of like when you meet a rich person and they ask you to get them a Christmas gift. And you like, I don't know what else you need. You got everything. You really don't even want or need me because this is in my head, right? This is what we kind of have to, some of us have to shift a little bit because this is the world now. You're going to find women that are taking care of themselves and their kids and all that. You're going to have to get over yourself. But I will say this. I think a little part of all of us men who are kind of, been raised and socialized similarly, it's a little part of us that feels like that. A little bit. Some of us like how, back way back in the day when I was I really didn't give a damn. I didn't care what you made, didn't matter. We would just, for me, it was about the communication. That was just like Tony Massey has said many times. That was my claim to fame. I didn't care about your money. I was getting in with the mouth, the talk game, and the money. I didn't care about that. But I do know that there's a lot of men who will see what you're driving, and they be like, "Oh yeah, big money. Look at you. I see. You probably don't even need." We already setting ourselves up for failure before we even talk to the woman. So it's tough because we're in this kind of gray area between tradition and how things were, and now women are kind of their businesses and making their own money and taking care of stuff, and it's like at some point you're gonna have to accept this change. You can't beat them all down. So I'm gonna lay my plane there. Anybody else have anything to add?
Had to make Gunner Man, go for it, bro. Go for it.
No, you go first.
All right. Yeah. Everything, man, like how do you come after Tony Massey? And then Derek comes behind him and just breaks it down to the very last compound. But my quick thought on that is sometimes we will take a specific problem and do what we tend to call peanut butter spread. So you'll meet a man or a woman or whatever, and you'll say, this person is intimidated by me. And it may be true in that specific situation. So that situation doesn't work. And then you carry that narrative into every other relationship, and they can fail for a variety of reasons. but you're emotionally attached to the idea that all of them are failing for this one because, and let's be honest. So if somebody tells me, I'm in a dating situation and they say, John, I couldn't deal with you because you're too self-absorbed and you're not kind, and that's not how I see myself. I'm not gonna say, oh, I have trouble dating because people say I'm self-absorbed, because that means that I got to do some work on me. That don't work. But if it can be somewhat of a failure that points to a strength of mine, so like you say, John, I have a hard time dealing with you because you're so intelligent, then I'm fine with carrying the narrative forward. Women are intimidated by me because, I use these words and they're so intimidated by my intelligence and my book smarts. And that's really why dating is so hard for me, because, it's easy to carry that if you can say it's problematic, but somehow or another it makes me look like this. And so I think a lot of times, again, it's the peanut butter spread. It might be absolutely true that somebody might have said, oh, well, I can't date you because you're too smart. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that said, I can't date you because you ain't smart enough. But I'm not going to carry that one forward. I will carry the one that can call it a problem, but yet I can still say, yeah, I came out looking good. I'm good enough. It's them. So.
Yeah, when you continue to paint the picture that you're not the problem, in all our scenarios is coming back down to people believing that I am not the problem. It's like, but I love it. I love it. Tony Massey, bro. Yo, much love for you. Derek, boom. And then here's another angle from John. How about just simply you scared? How about you're just scared? You're scared. Yeah, you realize that money can't buy you love. You have success, but you still are hurt by the things that happened to you in the past. You're still hurt. You're unwilling to become vulnerable once again. You've gone down a path so often choosing poorly that you don't even have confidence in that area. Because I could go back and think about my marriage. I had success in so many different areas of my life to the extreme, but then how in the world did I mess up in marriage? Like, it just didn't make any sense. Why didn't I just apply the same principles that I utilize for work towards relationships and give that grace to situations, or start a conversation to understand my customers more? These things that we do, but you develop these fears that hinder you from now willing to go back into another situation, because now you believe that no one could rise to the place where you now hold yourself. I am to the place where I'm financially sound. I'm doing this. I'm happy with my life. I don't need any more friends. So if a guy is just trying to come to become my friend, I got no time for new friends. I'm looking for a lover. So now it's almost like, do I connect with you? Are you willing to do this? 401k? Where are you starting from? Where are you at? For men now, we're like, Derek, you hit it. It's not fear so much. It's inadequate. Like, is my emotional side, is my emotional intelligence good enough for you just to love me there? Yeah, I have success. I have a good business. I have things, but I'm not making what you're making. But is my emotional connection to you, my heart for you, my willingness to show up and to hear you out and to journey with you that way, is that enough? But we men don't know how to operate from that place alone. What? Is that enough? No, I got to be productive. Like I put up a quote today about that. My worth isn't based on my productivity, but it's hard to break that habit, right? It's hard not to think of, if I'm not making real money right now, how can I go out on dates? How can I actually really connect with someone? Because if she comes, I don't even have enough money in my bank account to handle someone new. That's inadequate. That feeling of, I don't know how I'm not ready to date yet. And that's what men will feel like. I'm not ready for this. And we talked about in past shows the change over the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years. The shift has been massive. Black and Latino women are owning businesses. It is the greatest boom of growth, of people growing and having their own businesses. So now they're looking to their men and saying, well, if you're not coming with, bring home the bacon, what? No, I got bacon. I got bacon, scrambled eggs. I got the pots and pans. So what you bringing? And men are like, I'm still trying to find myself. You know, I love art. I love art. Come on. I think that's part of our hang up. There's so many guys in the 30s, 40s, and 50s that are still trying to find their thing to do in life. I'll land there.
Can I say this too, Derek? I find it interesting that some ladies will claim that men are intimidated by them, but then when you go and look at how they present to the world, especially via their social media, it's very polished. It's very, ornate. Let Instagram tell it. There are a lot of supermodels out there who are going on these big trips and they're doing all these big things. And it isn't until you have the courage to, or even the wisdom to realize that these are all staged, right? This photo that was posted is one of 300 that was taken, and even it went through several rounds of editing and Photoshop and all this other stuff. But that's what you're presented. And so when you get the opportunity to approach, you know what I'm saying? That's what you have in your mind. I'm not making an excuse, but that whole thing about being intimidating or whatever, and the last thing I'll say is, if everyone is saying the same thing, then it's time to change the people that you're listening to.
Yeah, this I've heard that so much in my life, not towards me, but just in general, that it just, I cringe when I hear it, because I'm just like, and to Gunter Man's point, and I'm gonna say this real quick, and then we're gonna jump on to the other side of how men are talking about women, because I want to make sure that we share the love here. I think to piggyback off of Gunter Man, we grew up seeing, if we wanted the girl, we had to have the car, we had some money, the guy, and if you didn't have it, whether we like to say it or not, you was envious of the guy with the car because he was getting the girls. We have this relationship with money and finance as our worth and our value, and all the other things that you value in a relationship, the emotions, the emotional intelligence, and all these other things. Now, like to Gunter Man's point, women are saying, okay, the financial part, that's not going to do it for me. With the other stuff, what's the other stuff? And we like, oh crap, I'm 40 and I've never even really had to tap into that. Now I got to go back to the drawing board and figure out like how I'm gonna give you all of that, because the money I'm showing you the stuff, but it's not really turning you on because you got the same thing. So what the other stuff? Hold on, let me get right back to you. I'm gonna figure it out real quick and come back. Like it's the tides are shifting. I'm gonna talk about
Esme's comment. We bring the loving.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yes.
Yeah. We definitely can bring that. All that other stuff, though. Go ahead, John. I know you coming.
27 seconds. Come on now.
I'm gonna go to one of the things that I hear a lot. Black men are saying about Black women, and it kind of piggybacks a little bit on the whole success thing, but they kind of put it hand in hand. Black women are too masculine, and they are not resting in their femininity. And they also say that their femininity is conditional upon, like the other thing, just kind of like, it's kind of like a two-part thing. Too masculine, not resting in their femininity. And they'll say that women will say, I'm not going to show you the feminine side until I see that you're worthy of getting it. So it's like conditional femininity. Tony Massey, you're up.
The way my brother grabbed his face, you know he got a story with this one. Come on, Massey, bring it.
I am so. This is so ridiculous to me, you know. And what makes it ridiculous is that it's this idea that Black women own this issue of masculinity versus femininity. Okay. Here's my thing. I'm a man. In the morning when I wake up and before I go to bed, I'm a man. And although I'm not consciously there, I'm pretty sure that throughout the night, still a man. So if I meet a woman whose masculinity intimidates me, or I feel, emaciated by, or whatever, that's an internal issue, bro. I'm sorry. And I'm not going to sit here and throw Black women into a pot because I've encountered one or two women who may not be as feminine as I like them to be. Okay. That's one thing. Number two, at some point, men have to realize how dangerous it is to be a woman, period. There are dangers that women experience because men are here that men never even consider, unless we're in certain situations. The fear that I would have walking down the street in Compton wearing a blue t-shirt and a red hat is the same fear that the average woman feels leaving the grocery store at 2:00 in the afternoon. I don't share that fear, that many women have, because, I'm not constantly looking for someone to hurt me. And we can sit here and say, well, it's not all men, but it's enough to, elicit that fear. So here you have this, we get inundated with these stories of men walking up to women. Can I get your number? And instead of just saying no, they accost them, they attack them, the whole nine. But yet you want these women to not only walk around in their femininity, and you also want them to smile on demand. But yet, where are the men who are willing to check the men who are causing women to exit their femininity and enter their masculinity? We don't see those. If you ever said, well, that's not my problem and I can't get involved, then shut up. If you're not creating safe spaces, if you're not protecting women, especially Black women, then shut up, because they're dealing with life the way they feel they need to deal with it. That's what they're doing. And if you can't be a part of the solution, stop focusing on the problem. Have you ever asked why some women feel a need to be in their masculinity? I mean, we talked about it last week a little bit, especially with the single moms. We have whole programs speaking for 4 hours at a time about why Black men should not date single mothers. And you don't understand why she is not in her femininity. It's because you've made her out to be worthless, a liability. You compare yourself to a lion going in and killing the kids so you can have, it's ridiculous. But you want these women to be soft and friendly and smile and happy and all this. Why? We're not protecting them. We don't. And that's something we have to admit. We get into these mindsets that the only women that I have to protect are the women in my life, but yet you want women that you've never met to be submissive and all this other stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And when you compare, when these guys compare Black women to women of other ethnicities and races, you only compare the women. You don't compare the men. You don't talk about what the men of these other ethnicities aren't doing that we're doing. We got to own our stuff. as men, we have to stop talking about how women react and start really talking about why they're reacting. We're mislabeling what we're seeing. If a woman is walking around with a face on and you know, and she looks mean and she looks mad, and you tell her smile, why? What for what? What you haven't given me a reason to. You have made it so that because you're here, I now have it. To me, it's a lot like when, you know, in the 50s and the 40s, during the Jim Crow era, during those times where you couldn't look a white man in the eye and you had to look down, you had to look away, and, you know, all this stuff, you had to be subservient, and, you know, you had to do things that made him comfortable. We're doing the same thing. How about instead of smile, beautiful, how about, are you okay? Do you need anything? How about being a part of the solution instead of continuing to point out the problem? That's the issue I have with this conversation. And how about checking those brothers who are making it hard for our Black women to smile? I would love to see that. I would love to see a 4-hour show where Black men hold each other accountable for the way that some of us treat Black women. Instead, what we get is, that ain't me. Yeah, but it's somebody that looked like you, bruh. And what are you going to do about it? You see, it's easier to attack someone that you know can't attack you back. It's not as easy to bring that stuff to somebody who can point out your stuff too. I'll land there.
Massey, it's almost like it's not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist, right? You have to be like you have to be doing something to help the cause. Now, you might think that who am I is just one single man that has the ability to change such a huge narrative, right? Because that's the next question. Well, change the narrative in your nephews. Change the narratives in your son or grandson. Change the narrative in the circle of people that you surround with. When you go out to hang out with your boys, check your boys. Say, hey, come on. You know, it's as simple as that. You might not be able to change everybody. You might not become that global movement, but how about just being a global movement in your house, a neighborhood movement, or your crew movement? Something to just cause them to pause, to let them know that the reason why they're that way or acting that way is because they've been through some stuff. And your presence is either going to make it more real for them or slowly chip away at it. I want to be a part of the chip away. I want to be a part of how can I make that situation better for you? And I tell people too, like when I speak to people about the way they feel about things and how they feel tight about it, I says, you know what? Stay that way. Because when you finally let go of it, you know it's going to be real. You know that it's going to be a very real release. So stay the way you are, stay believing the way you believe, and gradually, as you work with people and talk and have these conversations, you'll start letting go of it. And by your own free will, you'll start deciding that there is a different way that I could be, that all men are not like that. But like Massey said, when you walking down the streets in the 50s and 60s, you wasn't taking a chance looking up and say, maybe this is time I could look you right in the eye and not get hung. Maybe this, no, you ain't taking that chance. You just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. So women, ladies, it's circles like this. 5 guys of the Real Shop Talk that's starting to chip away at that stuff. You know, we're building a community, not only a community that will attract and to hear these type of narratives being spoken about. We as a group of 5, 4 here on screen, but 5 are also working on being closer to. We're spending more time talking to each other on the phone and checking in and seeing about what's going on in our real life. So when we get on the screen, it's not only clicking here, but we're also letting people know that it's realer than real when you get in this community, that we're going to be that type of a group of men that are going to help build a foundation that will move a nation globally one day.
So I see in the comment section, Samika said, "Do we ever feel it's appropriate to hold women accountable?" I think everybody on this panel believes that accountability is not gender specific. Accountability is something that is good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and everything in between. And I think I kind of understand where you're coming from, and I won't speak for everybody on the panel, just like I wouldn't speak for all men, just like I wouldn't speak to the topic of accountability for all women, because whenever you use that term all that you need is one to render your statement inaccurate. That's as if I said, man, you know what? They did a panel and all the fellas on that panel had on black shirts. Well, I don't have on a black shirt, so that's not an accurate statement. So when we started out, we were talking about there's a young lady, and it was about a 20-minute clip that Tony Watts sent us, and she was just going in about how black men are the problem with the reason why black families, couples, all of that are toxicity. And so the conversation tonight is based in the fact that we need to bring it together, not do anything to divide it. So this accountability piece is what are the positive things we can bring to the table to bridge that gap. And when we look at that accountability piece, we want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So we don't want to be, and just brilliant. Man, I had been wanting to work with Tony Massey for a long time because he had talked about that we did a show. Well, I wasn't on it, but I was watching him on a show about accountability and protecting our black women. And I was just like, yo, man, this dude right here, man. And so I've been a fan for a long time, and just getting into that, when you talk about a woman being too masculine, but we don't talk about men being too feminine. I mean, not in the same way, and if a woman is too masculine, then, that's something she can work out on her own time. Like if she's too masculine and you can't deal with it, you've got all the right in the world to move on and find one that's just as feminine as you need them to be. And then we've got to understand that each of us have feminine and masculine energy, and there's synergy when we work together. And sometimes a man, we won't admit it, but sometimes our needs, they fall in the feminine realm, and sometimes our needs fall in the masculine. Sometimes our communication is feminine, sometimes it's masculine, and that's not an inherently good or bad thing. It's just what it is. It's energy. And so, when he talked about that, he's a he's a disgraced comedian, definitely in my opinion. But Louis C.K., man, he did a bit and he said it. He said, man, I'm tired of dudes complaining about dating women and their feelings are hurt because they got turned down. He said, what do women risk every time they go out with a man? Everything bad that has ever happened to a woman has happened at the hands of men. They could be beaten up, they could be talking too crazy, they could be abused, they could be raped, they could be assaulted, they could be kidnapped, they could be held against their will, killed. All of that bad stuff is what's on the line. Like literally, where at the base where I work at, they ask for volunteers during the holiday season, men to be present in the parking lots of malls and shopping centers so that there can be a presence there when women walk outside, because of how statistically the rates of assaults and all kinds of things go up during that time because women are out shopping alone. Like, this isn't like, oh, well, guys need to get themselves together. No, this is a problem. So let me, I'm going to say that I'm going to land my plane there.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read a couple comments, and then we're going to keep the show moving along. I got to go back to Alicia's, because if I don't, Alicia said, most of them have a story too. A lot of them didn't start out like that, right? So we talked.
Alicia said Tony
too.
was in y'all's living room too. So hey, man, I'm gonna come pick you up tomorrow. We'll have breakfast.
Yeah, Alicia's been telling me that since I met her. Because I'm like, that what's wrong with that girl? She like Derek. I guarantee you she didn't start out that way. Love Tucker says, true, Alicia, much like teenage girls that wear baggy clothing so their shapes aren't shown. Yeah, we see that a lot. Mouth So Reckless says, great points, Mr. Massey. Please notice some women have admitted to holding out as well, purposely coming off a little masculine due to post-trauma and other issues. Yep, we just spoke to that too. People are commenting about the single moms. Let me tell you something, man. It's an epidemic right now. These dudes online, like if you're online, I guarantee you, if you look at some more relationships, it's a dude saying, you know, successful men, black men would never date a woman who have kids. We know that's a lie. So, but that's the narrative.
I want you to have kids because I ain't trying to have no more. So have all your kids out the way. You know what I'm saying? I'll let your boy.
Erica says accountability can't be enforced. Accountability comes from a spirit of willingness and agreement. Absolutely. And yeah, so we're gonna move on real quick. I did want to touch on this probably slightly a little bit earlier, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's this thing that we're hearing about now called the alpha female. I got a little video clip. There go Tony Bass. I'm gonna play this little video clip because this dude, I felt like he had one of Tony Massey suits on. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this and y'all tell me what y'all think.
Do you consider yourself to be an alpha woman? Well, you are a rare find because most women are betas. A woman will expect the man to be an alpha over her. She will look to him for support, direction, or protection. And if he can't provide that, she will lose respect for him by treating him with contempt, cheating, or leaving. Some women are so used to being alphas as independent women that they don't know how to release that masculine energy and submit to the male alpha when the time comes. Believe me, I'm not saying that a woman can't be an alpha, because alphas can coexist with other alphas. An alpha will respect another alpha's territory and respect when they have entered into his or her domain. There are betas that act like alphas when they're not in the room, but once the alpha shows up, the beta wants to get territorial. So ask yourself, are you an alpha or are you just a beta who is territorial when your man shows up?
Anybody else head hurt?
You can choose a lot of words.
Yeah. Y'all can choose to comment or not. When I saw that thing, I was like, you got to be kidding me. We can choose to move on.
First of all, that is not a Tony Massey suit. I would never wear anything like that. Let's make that really clear before we go anywhere. I'm so tired of this alpha beta crap. It's too much, man.
Soon as I hear alpha on either side of the fence, it's cringeworthy to me. I don't understand why.
My man had the voice, but he didn't say nothing.
Nothing.
He didn't say anything.
Say nothing. He said 2 + 2 could be 4, except if you carry the 1, then sometimes it's 5, and then 7 to the 2. Namaste.
Like why would we choose to compare ourselves to an inferior species? That doesn't make sense to me. Let's all be like animals who are driven purely by instinct. No ability to rhyme, reason, no ability to evolve beyond where they are. Let's do that. That is dumb.
And they even debunked the whole alpha thing anyway. Yeah.
The guy who created it debunked it.
Yeah. So it's like, come on, man. Like
he found out that the alpha that he was talking about happened to be the father.
Right. Yep.
The reason everybody was following him around because he ain't daddy.
Yeah, these labels and titles that people are thinking that they have. And here's the thing: that's that whole social media thing I was talking about. Yeah. This is not how people was moving. Like nobody cared about this. We were just trying to get together. Let me get your number. Like, what's up? Are you an alpha or beta? Are you a sigma?
Right. Alphas I heard about in college with the frats.
Right.
What was that movie that says like I'm just a girl that's looking for a guy? What was that movie? Some type of clip where forget that alpha, beta, and all that. I just want a woman. Give me a girl. Give me a woman. Give me a woman. You know, we'll figure it out together. But let me love somebody. Let me feel a way and have her feel the same way or similar ways back. And let us talk about situations to make them better or make it sweeter. Let me be myself.
Yeah, I think these labels, the purpose is very it's a way for you to exclude or accept people, almost like a Mean Girls Club. Like, I'm an alpha and you're not. It does not speak to the nuance of who we are as human beings. Right. You're just looking for somebody that fits, and most people don't just fit in one alpha box. We have emotions and stuff we do, so that's why it's silly. We don't.
No
fit
alpha is always an alpha.
Yeah,
right. There are situations where the biggest, toughest alpha man will not be the alpha man, depending on the environment that you put him in.
Right.
You take somebody who is the greatest quarterback in the world, right? And you put him on a soccer field or a cricket field or a video game tournament or whatever. There's every environment has the standout person, but they're only going to stand out in that area. You take them out that area and put them somewhere else, and all of a sudden they're not it.
Yeah. So we're gonna go maybe one or two more places before we wrap it up. And there's these other terms that we learn now, called pick me women and dusty men, and I'm just like, y'all need to stop, man. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm sorry, because I be on Clubhouse a lot. So pick me women are women who they would say are vying
like
for
the female simps, right?
Yeah, right. They're the female simps. They're the ones that are vying for male.
Pick
Say it
me
again, John.
doesn't have to be men or women, but a pick me is somebody that's always vying for attention, want to be seen, want to be chosen. So I mean, it ain't nice, but
is that a bad thing?
It's a situation for sure.
It is if you're on the internet.
But what I'm saying is, one of the characteristics that Kevin Samuel says a woman should be is agreeable. So now being agreeable makes you a pick me? If you got a woman that's sitting here going, whatever you like, then that's what you want, then what's the problem?
The reason why it's looked at as a negative is the same way that a simp is looked at as a negative. If we pretend there's a universe where, most men aren't simps, then the simp is the bad guy in that. They're the outcast, right? So the pick me woman, in the same tone, if we're all like all men ain't shit, then if you are over there catering to a man, you'll pick me. So it's another way for the things that we say we want and love to be downplayed, so that there's further divide to the tone of what this whole show is about. Like, what are we doing?
The only reason why you call her a pick me is because you don't want her. But if you want her, she ain't a pick me then.
Right. It bothers me.
The truth behind that stuff, men sim, women sim, the truth is that if you're cowering to the person that you would love to love, if you're always serving the one you love and not keeping yourself involved with it, after a while you will come to resent them, to get angry with them, because you're going to always see them like, when are they going to change so they could take care of, also bless me the same way that I bless them? Where is it going to, to always become like a yes man or a yes woman, and not have your own needs being served? Not having your own needs being served causes you to what? Hold it against them after a while. And what? After a while, blame them for all the things that are going on in the relationship. When in truth, if you allow things that don't please you to take place in your presence and not do something about it, you're being a villain to yourself. You're punching your own self in the face in the relationship. Force yourself not only to give, but also set up scenarios so you can also receive. That you have to keep your love language involved in your relationship. So if it starts off as pick me it's the beginning. All right, that's the way you operate. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sweetie. Oh, babe. Okay, babe. If that's the way you begin, but soon, super soon, you better show up as your real self. So you can also be served in the same way that you are desiring to serve them.
Yeah. So let's talk about real quick before we wrap it up. Unless you guys have anything that y'all want to address or that have heard about that's causing this divide.
So you said it really, really well, Derek, when you talked about inadequate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, inadequacies on both sides and a lack of communications to talk about it, to be daring to be, once again, to go through whatever you've gone through enough and to still dare to be vulnerable, be brave, be courageous, be vulnerable again, because there is no real love without vulnerability. There isn't. There is no form of real love without vulnerability.
Exactly. I think a lot of us have really realized and found that out the hard way, but it's essential to your growth in your relationship. So let's talk about this before we kind of get to the end of the show. It's not enough eligible black men. They not out here. I don't even know if it's even worth it for me to date anymore. What y'all think about that? True, false, full of crap?
Frequency. What frequency are you operating on? What frequency? What are you attracting?
Yeah.
Are you willing to open up? Are you willing to open up enough to let someone get close? You know, like you hear that often said from the women in Atlanta. Am I right with that, Tony Massey, at all? You hear it from the women in Atlanta because the men that are into men and on the down low is such a big thing. So you don't know if you could actually find a straight guy and all this and that. That's the conversation piece, you know. But it's, once again, it still comes down to, as John Singletary says, that energy. What are you putting out there? What are you believing for? What are you doing? How do you feel about yourself? Because the way you feel about yourself, the way you treat yourself, is going to be reflected back to you. If you don't trust yourself, if you don't show yourself integrity, there's no way that you could ever believe that you could see that or get that from another person. And that's hard to be in a relationship and expect them to treat you better than you treat yourself. But that's what we do. You want your partner to treat you better than you treat yourself. But how are you going to attract that? You have to believe it first. You got to believe and get to the place where you're already happy, where you're already at peace, where you're already sound and moving and shaking and living the desires of your life. Because it's in the midst of you daring to live your purpose. It's in the midst of you daring to live your calling, where all the wonderful things you think about life and would hope to happen will actually get a chance to live. When you don't live in the place of daring to live your own calling, the thing that's been tugging on you, if you never dare to live that, you're always operating from a place of being deficient. You're always kind of fluttering. I wonder, you're always letting the world tell you, move you in a particular way. Instead of you happening to life, life is happening to you. That's right. Instead of you, what is that? There's a life happening for you. Life happening for you. You have to make the decision. If you can't find the right guy out there, if you can't find the right woman out there, find a purpose that moves you and chase it. And trust me, if you dare to chase it, he or she shall absolutely come. Should absolutely come. You know, like for those who believe in God, if you're not taking care of you, why would God give you someone else to beat up and treat poorly? You take care of you. If you take care of you, if you get to the place where you're already living in the happiness of your now, finding and living the happiness of your now, he or she will absolutely come. The only problem you're going to have with now is when they do come, don't treat them like your old self. When they do show up, Don't treat them like your old self. Treat them like your new self. The new self that is happy, the new self that is already moving, not off of what your girlfriends and things that you've been through. No. Operate from your truth of your now. Operate from that position, because that's where you'll see that new person will ignite and show you ways of love and being and loving, as Esme talked about, that you can never even imagine, because you're open. But live your calling. And in the midst of living your calling, know and trust that will come.
Man, it should have been some music that came on when you said but no, it's true. Listen, I can't speak to the specific numbers. From the perspective of a man, I'm not looking for men. So I don't know. I can't tell y'all if it's not enough out here. That ain't what I'm looking for. But I will say, man, like when you're wounded, you'll talk a certain way and you'll see a certain way, and you will navigate life in a certain way. And when you heal, or when you at the very least start a process of healing, you won't see things the same way. And it's like for me, I notice negative self-talk. I notice the kind of conversations that exonerate people of personal responsibility. Just on my journey, because I used to use a lot of that same language myself. I still use it at times, but I can spot it real fast. And a lot of times it's just a matter of, I don't want to take responsibility for this, so I need to say that it's a global problem, or it's an enterprise-wide problem, instead of me saying there's still some work that I need to do. If you're wounded, you still look at, I'm wounded, so that means that there ain't no good men out here because I'm wounded. That's how I see it. But as you get healed, you start to see there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't see because I was looking at it and viewing it from a wounded perspective. So I would just say, if there are people out here, men that say there ain't no good women out here, and there's women that say ain't no good men out here, I would say keep doing the work. And I promise you, what you put out, you will draw to you. There will be a different type of, these gentlemen that I have the privilege of being associated with, there was a time in my life where they wouldn't want to have nothing to do with me because I was still in a process of figuring out who I was. But now, like I said, I was a fan of Tony Massey, and now I got his cell phone, y'all. Hey, he gonna be on my podcast as soon as we can get it all set together, because I'm blowing up, y'all. The blow up situation is real. Y'all better get on right now.
Have you guys ever sat down and talked to women about what they're looking for? I think that some women have very realistic preferences, very realistic standards. But I think expectations is where a lot of times we get lost. I prefer, your preferences are fine. There's nothing wrong with you wanting a man of a certain height, or certain financial income, a certain education, or whatever the case may be. But you cannot expect the perfect man to just find you, or for you to just stumble upon him, or whatever the case may be. That's never going to happen. And even if it does, if you're not in the right mindset, like these two gentlemen said, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter, because you're going to miss out on it anyway. It makes me laugh when I hear some women say there are no good men, and then have the unmitigated gall and audacity to get on their knees and pray that God sends them a good man. From where? You just said that there aren't any. You know what I mean? There's power in the tongue. We have to understand that. As long as you keep speaking lack is what you'll receive. It's as simple as that. And I'm not speaking from a place of enlightenment. I'm speaking from a place of experience. I went through that process of dating with a lack mindset. I stayed in relationships longer than I should, not because I was trying to work it out and all this other crap. I was afraid that if I lost this person, I wouldn't have anyone else to date. And so as long as I had that lack mindset, then yeah, I took whatever I could get and then held all women accountable for the actions of a woman that I should have never even entertained in the first place. You know, you're going to attract all kinds of people, big people, small people, kind people, mean people. It's what you entertain is what matters. It's as simple as that. But you cannot entertain the right person with the wrong mindset. You got to start here. Not only that, would you date you if you met you? That's where the work really starts, in my opinion. I purposely became dateable. You know what I mean? I really did, to the point where I wanted to be the type of person that a woman that the woman I was looking for would be happy with when she met me. And so many people, not just men, not just women, but so many people have this, you have to take me for who, you got to accept me for who I am. No, I don't. I always say there's only two things I have to do, and that's stay black and die. Everything else is a choice. Those are the only two things I don't have a control over. So this idea that I have to abandon all of my preferences, all of my standards, everything that I've been praying God for, and just accept you and all your lackadaisical, non-effort and all this other stuff. No, I don't. I'm out. Do the work. Get into the right mindset. Mindset is everything. Now, I struggle with the idea that you can just manifest anything, and you have to work. You know what I mean? You could pray all day, but work. What is it? Faith without works is dead.
Right.
But the work is not you changing him. The work is you changing you. You making yourself, a better offering for the man that you've been praying for. And consider that you may have already met him. He may already be in your circle, but it may just not be time. Imagine getting everything you want at the wrong time. It's a nightmare. And if you don't believe me, Google how many people have won the lottery and died. They got everything that we're all paying for, that we're all hoping for and wishing for, and trying to pick the right. They did it, and within a year, 5 years, 10 years, they're gone. Why? Because they weren't ready. They were not prepared for the blessing that they have been praying for. So if you're out there and you're praying for the right man or the right woman, I want you to add two things to your prayer. One, make me open to receive. And two, make me ready to receive. That way, when God says, now is the time, you feel more ready. Because the faith that you have to have is that God is going to give you all of the desires of your heart. He ain't going to give you a career, an education, a kid, a nice car, a house, and say, I don't know if I want to give you a man. That's a lot. No, he's going to give you all the desires of your heart. But you have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You have to be open. You have to be in the right mindset, because here's the thing, and I'll say this and I'm done. Your blessing is never going to be tied to someone else's curse. It's not how it works. God is not going to bless you with someone special and then curse them with your brokenness. That's not the God we serve. I'll land there.
And make sure you're not praying prayers like me about, I shouldn't say that, but I'm already started. Don't pray that God makes her willing to let you clap cheeks. That's not a quality prayer.
This dude,
hey, bro, you better be specific. You're gonna end up with a no booty girl who's perfect in every other way, looking up at God saying, "This ain't what I want." Hey, so what you asked for, bro? That's what you ordered.
So
and just like real
go
life,
ahead, Gunter, man.
I'll say, and just like real life, I'll end with this: is you appreciate it more when you work for it. When you work on yourself and you get yourself to the place where you could actually receive and handle, be able to not only receive, but treat well that which you work for, you'll appreciate it so much more. Life becomes even more filled with joy when you're like, not only am I ready, but like, I'm good at this. Like, I'm good at this.
Man, I say all the time, I'm so glad 25-year-old Tony didn't meet this woman and mess it up.
Very true, very true, very true. So I'm gonna say this real quick, and then if we have any other comments or statements after this, we can kind of wrap it up after that. So here's the thing: when I hear women and or men make that statement about no one being eligible and oh, there's nobody good, they all want this and they don't want that and all of this stuff. When I and I talk about this a lot, especially this year because I hear it a lot. But what I do with my clients is I make them do a math problem, and I tell them, if nobody's out there that's good, right? You say everybody that you meet is not good. First question is going to be, how many people have you dated this year? Right? They may say 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever, right? What state do you live in? What city do you live in? Where do you meet those 10 people? Normally, it's in this small mile radius because as humans, we frequent the same spots often.
Watering
right?
holes.
Yeah. You go to the same bars because you're comfortable there. This now becomes your narrative for the world. And it's literally just your city, right? You got another city adjacent to yours. You got another one an hour away. You ain't going to go there because it's not comfortable, right? So how can everybody be jacked up if those are the only places? It's so tiny. Like the sample size is so tiny. And then they'll say, well, my girlfriend in Alabama, she deals with the same stuff. And my question is, do y'all normally agree about everything with this dealing with men and relations? Yeah, we do. So y'all traveling in packs. It's the same mentality. It's just in a different state. So her outcomes are going to look just like yours. So miss me with the everybody's jacked up and everybody what. Stop. You can't, even if I'll give you credit, even if you went 2 hours outside of and you looked and you went different places. Oh, there's an event an hour and a half away. I'm going to purposely go there because there may be some different people there. So before you utter this, there's no good men or women, they not eligible, they not the quality and type that I want, you got to evaluate where you fishing. 9 times out of 10, it's not like there's no depth or no range to the type of people you meet, and then you're complaining about the 10. And now for the next 2 or 3 years, you're gonna go to that same bar every Friday, and you're gonna meet some different dudes that's from that same city, and you're gonna say, man, these men, they suck. 9 times out of 10, these dudes went to the same high school. They act the same way. They probably dressed the same. One of them got on the red blazer, and the other one got on the blue blazer and the hat. They coming in, mixing and matching every week, and you're like, well, I dated this one, and then it's the same dude. So I'm gonna lay it there, but it's insane because we don't think about it like this. We go on 20 dates in the same city, and we be like, man, these people ain't. Now you got a car. If you got a car, you got the internets now. I know they say the dating pool got urine in it and all that stuff they be saying now, but you can't achieve anything if you don't keep working those dating muscles and keep trying. The problem why, and I'm gonna land with this, the reason why you hate it so much is because your boundaries weak as hell. So you letting people in that don't even need to be there, and you like, man, this sucks. If you had discernment to put the trash out, you'd be like, I want to go on another one because I'm good. You only not good, and it only sucks because you spending time where you don't supposed to, and that's a you problem. So I'm gonna lay in there.
It reminds me of what Tony Massey says: "Is who you entertain."
Yep. And we ain't getting no older, so y'all need to work them little knees popping and all that. Just get outside and walk around, do something.
And there's also you got to unpack the frustration. You can't take that out with you. I used to know this cat. We used to go to we used to go out, man. And the best part of going out with him was the getting ready. Because, man, we were all hype and we had music and, we pregame and the whole nine. And then we get to the spot and he post up on the wall and sulk all night because he never asked nobody to dance. He never, what I'm saying? He wasn't a very social guy. And so when we left the club or when we left the party or whatever, he's the only one that didn't have a good time because he walked in there just frustrated from his previous experience. He had already convinced himself that nobody was going to talk to him. Nobody was going to, of course not. You look terrifying. Bro, I was a little scared to walk up to you, and I know you. I came here with you. You look like a serial killer, man. One of the things that my mother-in-law says is show yourself friendly. And I think, I get it that I don't expect women to walk around with a smile on their face, entertaining every man that says hello. But if you see somebody that looks interesting, I mean, we're all visual creatures. Let's stop this nonsense that only men are visual creatures. Women are too. We're all visual creatures. We all, none of us are going to eat something that don't look appetizing, right? So if you do meet someone, there's nothing wrong with making yourself approachable, but you're not responsible for being approached. There's two different things. You can be approachable, but it's not your responsibility to make sure everybody knows you can approach me. That's ridiculous. And I think as men, and this is something that I really want to become a thing, as men, especially the 5 men in this group, we really have to invest time and energy into making sure young men have an alternative to the things that they're hearing in the manosphere and all these other places, because they're developing mindsets and ideas and concepts that are guiding behavior that will never serve them. They are accepting truths that are very false, and men who have been hurt and lack the courage to deal with their childhood trauma and even their emotional trauma from dating or past relationships now are picking up microphones, and they're teaching these young men first to hate themselves and then to hate anyone who challenges what they believe about themselves. And so I really think it's incumbent upon us as men who are a little more enlightened, a little more, understanding of what, have a bigger view of the world, different vantage point, to really start impressing upon them how important it is to stop focusing on the negative and start contributing to the positive. Something as simple as this idea of, we need to hold women accountable. No, you don't. First of all, you can't hold anybody accountable that don't report to you. You know what I mean? If you ain't feeding somebody, you can't hold them accountable. The only person that you can hold accountable is you. Now, you can impart consequences. If a woman is not behaving in a way that you feel is appropriate, then stop dealing with her. It's as simple as that. But ranting and raving about the fact that, she always late, then stop making an appointment with her. Stop making dates with her. She'll never be late again. Trust me, not for you. And that type of power, I feel that we need to put back into the hands of our younger generation, especially young Black men, because they're being led astray. And it hurts my soul when I see them champion people who have an agenda, and that agenda is to get an audience and to get money and to become, famous and all this other stuff. So I'll end there.
Awesome. Tony Massey, that's so on point. And as you guys know, I know Derek already knows, I'm building, my whole website is being built. So I go speak in schools. I'll be speaking in schools. And I believe that due to Lolita and her friendship, she has put me in touch with people. So this February coming will be my first time stepping out and doing school talks. So believing to have my website fully up and running by the end of December. I have a photo shoot coming up at the end of the month. Well, the beginning, because it's Thanksgiving, so we know how that's gonna go. But so we as a community will all play a part in building a foundation for us to speak to young men or young people to let them know there are different ways or different narratives that are out there than the ones that are taking place in their local communities.
That's amazing, brother. We got your back, man. And anything you need from us, we got you on that, sir. We look forward to seeing how that plays out, man. We your biggest cheerleaders, and we got you. I do want to go back real quick. TK's Chronicles of a Black Sheep was asking about what I meant by saying dating muscles. When you interact with people, relationships, talking to people, going out on dates, let's pretend you stopped doing it for 3 years and then you try to start back up again. It's something that you haven't done. So it's scary as hell because you don't even know, like you've lost. Like I talk to people that'll say, they was married for 20 years and then they left the marriage and 2 months later they was in another relationship for 3 years. And then after that one ended, they're like, I want to date now. I'm like, you don't have any dating skills. You don't even know what to do because you've always been in something. So now you out here with the wolves trying to figure it out. And I'm like, you don't even know outside, like they say on the meme, outside ain't how outside used to be back when you was it's a different, you got to see how they move. And the only way to do that, as long as you're ready and healed and all this, go out there and try with your boundaries and your discernment and so you can build your muscles up so that when hopefully this person that's really supposed to be with you comes along, you already ready for the convo and all the nuances of how this works. So that's what I mean by dating muscles. A lot of times we think if we sit out for a period of time, we can just jump out there and be, ready to talk the lingo and do all it. It's not something you can just, I don't care how many people you've married and been on dates. You take a vacation for a year or two, you're going to have to relearn the landscape. So I'm going to just lay in there. But yeah, outside different. I don't even want to be outside. I'm going to let John and Gunter Man go ahead and lead the charge on that. I don't even want to be. But there are some amazing people out there.
Can I order her through Grubhub, Uber or something? Because, man, it is ashy outside, man. It's ashy out there. Let me tell you something.
So we gonna wrap this up, guys. This was an amazing show. I love doing these type of shows where we can just kind of have some real shop talk. We can just get everything off our chest. And to that point, a lot of the shows that we're going to have in the future are going to feel a lot more. We're going to involve you guys. Like when we have the women on stage, we're going to invite even you, the audience, to give us questions ahead of time or during the show. And we just going to let it flow and let you guys, we're going to really have some interaction here. The ladies' night's coming around the second Tuesday of next month. And we just going to let the ladies ask us questions. Like we got a little taste of that the last ladies' night. And we're going to start to follow that narrative so that we can kind of give you the value that you're looking for. We'll have 5 gentlemen up here ready to answer the questions from a place that you probably won't, a lot of women will say, I have never gotten advice from a man that wasn't trying to get in my pants. So, I'm sorry, John.
I was about to say, I'm not that man.
For this hour and a half, though, we gonna give you what you're looking for. After that, you on your own. How about that? So
nope. They're not on their own. They have 2 life coaches right here.
That's true. That's true.
2 life coaches. Join forces. Let us journey with you. Let us get you to the place where you're hearing enough different perspectives that you can get to choose from. Not advice, just perspectives that you can get to pick from and see what's out there other than what you keep telling yourself, the story that you keep telling yourself.
And they'll set you up, and then they'll funnel you off to. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. Leave it up to Gunter Man to make it sound real. Because y'all know where I was going with that. Y'all know where I would. Yeah. So anybody who's single, after the show, but during the show, we're gonna give you all the nuggets. So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. This was good. Everybody in the comments, thank y'all for staying and hanging out and commenting and this thing was flowing real good. I feel good about this. Like I like this. So we're gonna keep these shows coming to y'all. We're gonna be doing some things. We're gonna try our best, weather permitting. We're gonna meet up the first part of the year next year, and y'all gonna see all of us together in the same place. So we're looking forward to that. That's gonna be exciting. We're gonna make sure that y'all are a fly on the wall to kind of see not everything, but we're gonna let y'all see how we are out here, hanging out and fellowshipping and doing all that stuff. So it's a long time coming, but we about to get that in too. So y'all stay tuned for that, and just stay tuned for some amazing content. And we will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Thank you all. Make sure that you go to realshoptalk.net, subscribe. Links and bios are on there, so everything you need is all in that one place. So make sure you guys, come back. Just keep coming back. We got some good stuff. We're gonna have some more amazing guests on here. Not just the ladies' night. We're gonna bring in special guests. We got a whole bunch of stuff playing. So just come back, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Keep coming back. It gets better and better. And bring your +5. We ain't doing +1s. Bring a +5. So on that note, we out here, guys. We will see you guys next week. Good night.
Next week, John getting chest naked.
We're gonna have about 150 people watching that. Yeah, we really getting out of here now. Y'all have a good night.